Hello, and welcome to a brand new chapter in the Complete Web Dev series. What we're going to be focusing on in this chapter is version control. And before we get too deep, let's talk about, well, what is version control? So I think it's best to try to explain this by presenting you with a few problems that will come up. And then we'll explain why version control is the answer to some of these problems. So I want you to imagine with me that you've coded out a project and you have this project pushed to a live server, meaning your website is live. And then I want you to imagine that you started writing a new feature and it's going to take you a while. Let's say it's going to take you a month to add a whole new feature to your website. So you start coding and you're writing your whole new feature set. And then someone lets you know that there's a bad bug on your website and you need to fix it ASAP. Well, you've already modified all of your code for this new feature set, and this new feature set isn't quite ready to go out. So do you wait to fix the bug until your feature set's done as well? Well, that's one option. The other option is to dig through all your code and try to comment out everything you've already done with the new feature set and just fix the bug, and then deploy that to the live server, and then go back and uncomment everything. But this kind of sucks. This is not a good solution. Okay. For one, you might miss stuff. You might have broken stuff. You might have completely different functions and changes that have happened, and commenting stuff out isn't going to work because you've actually updated all the functions. And so the answer to this problem would be a version control system. Okay, so version control will allow us to roll back to other versions or even create multiple versions of our source code, and then we can have a version that's on our live server. We can have a version that we're working on. So that is something that's great with version control, and I can even roll back changes to previous versions of my code, even though I may not remember what those are. And so this becomes very important as you are coding out complex source codes and websites. The other thing is, let's imagine that we're working on a team. We're not the sole developer, and there's multiple developers working on it. Okay, well, how do you share the code, and how do you keep the most up-to-date code between all the developers? Well, version control comes in to answer that question as well. All right, so one more scenario. Let's imagine that you have many developers working on a team on the same source code, but you're adding a new feature as this developer, and this developer's adding a whole new feature, and this developer's creating or fixing a bug. This is also a great use case for version control. So that is why I've chosen now to jump into version control, because for the rest of this series, we're going to be using version control in order to get you used to following that flow and trying to start thinking in terms of working on a team with other developers and how you can manage that source code in order to work on the team. And so it's very important for us to do that. In the next video, I'm going to show you the version control that we are going to be using, and it's the most popular version control out right now and probably the simplest version control. It's called Git. And in the next video, we're going to install Git and make sure that Git's installed on your computer. And then we're going to get started right into this. So these all should be fairly simple, quick videos. And so if you want to kind of start looking ahead at Git, then just do a Google search for GIT and start reading on some of their documentation. But until then, I will see you in the next video, and we're going to dive right in.